On August 1st, 1981, a new cable television network launched with an absolute declaration of war against traditional media. The very first footage they broadcasted was a launch of the Apollo 11 spacecraft, followed immediately by a music video with a prophetic title, "Video Killed the Radio Star." That network was MTV. For the next 2 decades, MTV didn't just play music videos, they became the absolute axis of youth culture. They dictated what was cool, broke global pop icons overnight, and built a multi-billion-dollar empire on a simple, revolutionary premise: 24-hour visual music. They defined a generation, and their brand was so powerful it changed the clothing, the slang, and the attitude of the entire planet. But if you turn on MTV today, you won't see music videos. Instead, you'll see endless back-to-back blocks of reality television shows like Ridiculousness, Catfish, or Jersey Shore. The network that literally stood for music television has completely scrubbed music from its daily lineup. To the fans who grew up with the network, it looked like a betrayal of their heritage, a sellout of their artistic soul. But MTV didn't lose its mind, and they didn't run out of money. They ran into the cold, ruthless mathematics of television economics. They fell victim to a fundamental conflict between brand identity and audience retention. This is the story of how data overrode legacy, how a tiny experimental show in 1992 proved that music videos were an economic failure, and how MTV quietly killed its own core product to survive a war for attention that they could no longer win with music. Chapter 2. The Free Content Goldmine. To understand why MTV walked away from music videos, you first have to understand the bizarre, highly lucrative economic loophole that built their early empire. In the early 1980s, record labels were struggling to sell albums. They realized that if they filmed a band performing a song visually, it acted as a massive, high-impact commercial. When MTV launched, they approached these record labels with an incredible proposition. Give us your music videos for free, and we will broadcast them to millions of teenagers for 24 hours a day. The labels agreed instantly. To them, MTV was free advertising. To MTV, this was the ultimate business model. They didn't have to spend millions producing expensive television dramas, hiring actors, or building Hollywood sets. Their content costs were effectively zero. They simply took the free promotional clips, hired charismatic VJs to introduce them, and sold highly lucrative commercial airtime to massive brands desperate to reach the teenage demographic. It was one of the highest margin businesses in the history of cable television. By the late 1980s, MTV was a cash machine. They had expanded globally, launched sister channels, and held an absolute monopoly on youth attention. But beneath that goldmine lay a fatal underlying metric flaw. Because MTV didn't own the music videos, they had zero control over who was watching, how long they stayed, or when they decided to change the channel. Chapter 3. The passive viewing problem. As the novelty of the music video began to wear off in the early 1990s, MTV's executive boardroom started looking closely at a critical television metric: audience retention. In traditional television, networks make money by keeping a viewer glued to the screen through commercial breaks. If a viewer watches a compelling 30-minute sitcom, they will sit through the 3-minute ad break in the middle to see how the story ends. But music videos didn't work that way. A music video is a self-contained 4-minute artistic block. It has no continuous narrative, no cliffhangers, and no ongoing stakes. MTV discovered that their audience was practicing what media executives called passive viewing. A teenager would turn on MTV, watch a video by their favorite rock band, and the exact second the next video started, playing a song they didn't like, or the second a commercial break hit, they would immediately pick up the remote and change the channel. MTV was suffering from a massive viewer churn rate. Their audience wasn't staying for hours, they were dipping in and out for minutes at a time. Advertisers started noticing that teenagers were fleeing during commercial breaks, and they began demanding lower ad rates. MTV realized that relying entirely on 4-minute blocks of free content was leaving them highly exposed. They needed a product that could force an 18-year-old to sit on the couch and stare at the screen for a full hour without moving. And in 1992, They greenlit a low-budget experiment that would change television forever. Chapter 4. The Real World Revolution. The experiment was called The Real World. The concept was simple, cheap, and radically raw. Pick 7 diverse strangers, move them into a luxury loft in New York City, keep the cameras rolling 24/7, and edit the footage into a narrative drama. It was the birth of modern reality television. MTV didn't build the real world because they wanted to innovate artistically. They built it because it solved their data and retention problem. For the first time, MTV had a show with a narrative arc. There was conflict, romance, betrayal, and cliffhangers. When a commercial break hit, viewers didn't change the channel. They stayed through the ads because they desperately wanted to see who was going to scream at whom in the next scene. When the ratings came back, the data was undeniable. A single 30-minute episode of The Real World pulled in massive, highly concentrated viewing numbers that far outperformed an entire afternoon of music video blocks. More importantly, it unlocked a new economic engine: intellectual property ownership. MTV didn't own the music videos sent by record labels, but they owned the real world completely. They could syndicate it, sell merchandise, create spin-offs, and control the entire monetization pipeline. The metrics had spoken. Reality TV was vastly superior to music videos in keeping people glued to the screen. But corporate leadership hesitated. They were terrified that moving away from music would completely destroy their core brand identity. So throughout the 1990s, they kept a delicate balance, keeping reality shows in prime time but maintaining music videos during the day. Chapter 5. The Digital Executioner. Then came the late 1990s and early 2000s, and the internet arrived to deal the final, definitive blow to MTV's music model. In 2005, a platform named YouTube launched. YouTube systematically destroyed the last remaining reason for MTV's music videos to exist: scarcity. Before the internet, if a teenager wanted to see the brand new music video from Britney Spears or Eminem, they had to sit in front of MTV for hours, waiting patiently for the VJ to play it. MTV held total control over the distribution gate. YouTube completely removed that gate. It gave consumers instant, on-demand control. A user could go to a browser, type in a song title, and watch the exact video they wanted, instantly, for free, and on repeat. They no longer needed a cable TV network to curate their music lifestyle for them. Within a few short years, MTV's daytime music video ratings completely disintegrated. The youth audience had migrated entirely to digital platforms. Faced with total irrelevance, MTV stopped trying to balance their heritage. They realized that trying to compete with YouTube on music videos was a suicide mission. They had to lean fully into the one thing the internet couldn't replicate: massive, highly addictive, long-form reality TV spectacles. Chapter 6. The Jersey Shore Era. In December 2009, MTV dropped all pretense of being a music network and launched Jersey Shore. The show followed 8 housemates spending their summer at the New Jersey Shore. It was loud, chaotic, trashy, and an absolute cultural explosion. At its peak, Jersey Shore pulled in over 8 million viewers per episode, making it one of the highest-rated shows in cable history. It generated billions in advertising revenue, spawned international formats, and proved once and for all that MTV's survival lay in unscripted human drama, not music charts. The logo was quietly altered, removing the words music television from beneath the iconic M. MTV had completed its transformation. They had transitioned from a curated platform for musical artists into an industrialized production line for unscripted metrics. Today, the channel's programming grid is dominated almost entirely by Ridiculousness, a viral clip show that is systematically engineered for maximum retention and minimum production cost, playing for up to 80 hours a week on a single network loop. Chapter 7. The Core Lesson. MTV didn't stop playing music videos because they forgot their history or because they grew lazy. They did it because data will always override brand heater when a business model faces a structural crisis. A company cannot survive on nostalgia alone if its core product inherently causes users to change the channel. When consumer behavior shifted toward on-demand digital streaming, MTV's 24-hour music curation model became economically obsolete. By prioritizing audience retention metrics over their original creative mission, they made a painful corporate trade-off. They sacrificed their legendary cultural prestige to secure their financial survival. The ultimate lesson of MTV is that in fast-moving industries, your brand name is never a permanent contract with the future. If a better platform removes the friction from your core product, your legacy won't protect you. You either change what your company stands for, or you become a footnote in the history of the generation you helped create. If you found this deep dive into television economics and attention metrics valuable, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We track the high-stakes decisions, hidden monopolies, and structural shifts of the world's most powerful media and business empires. Drop a comment below. Do you miss the old days of TRL and music videos on MTV? Or do you think their pivot to reality TV was a brilliant business move? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next chapter.